Hello, beautiful people. I'm thinking this is a really important topic. Your light never goes anywhere. And when we have that perspective that I'm going to explain a little bit more of, so much can open up for us. It has so much to do with sustaining our high vibration. So stay tuned. By the end of this video, my hope is that you really understand the light being you are and how easy it can be to sustain that high frequency. My name's Rebecca Abraxas, and my channel is all about remembering our greatness, about vibrational alignment, and it's about just having our best life now and being that change for ourselves. So, if that sounds like a community you'd like to be in, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. And you can also go to my website, RebeccaAbraxas.com. There's a free gift there for you, as well as lots of blogs on tons of different topics. And so go peruse that. But let's dive in. Your light is there all the time. So why is that an important perspective? Well, a lot of times we go to yoga class or we do a meditation or we get energy work done, right? And we almost give we give the credit to the person running the meditation or the energy work or whatever else that they got us to this place, right? And in reality is our light guided us there, and our light just was able to unfold because during those times you let down your resistance. Your space of being is lightness, is the light, is source energy, whatever you want to call it. And it's our resistance to it that keeps us from experiencing that. And so it's a really important practice to be with that natural light state of being every day. And that's the importance of meditation, in my perspective, is that we get to just marinate in that sense of us, that space of being. Now, our space of being is that lightness. Now, states of being come and go, right? But your space of being is there. It's your beingness. It's just what you are. And those states that come and go, that angry state, that happy state, that, those things are more emotional based, right? Sense based, human based, those states of being. So when we go to a really awesome yoga class, they get us into maybe ecstatic state. But our space of being is that source energy, that unified sense of beingness. And when we are in states of joy, of ecstasy, just giddiness, laughter, our resistance goes down to remembering our space of being. Isn't that cool? So when you wake up in the morning, tune into your space of being rather than your state of being. The state is the thing that just fluctuates, right? It's your humanness, right? That space of being, the more you can just remember that and tune into that. And that's why I really love the practice of voice. Because when we sing out, and you could just sing out Om or Ah, you can see not only your state, the fluctuating state you're in, but you can also really start to tune in to the space of being underneath all of it. And when we start to live this space of being, oh my goodness, so much shifts. Let me tell you a story. I had an experience with my son, and just to keep his privacy, I'm not going to go into what it was, but it's something that every mom or parent would feel concerned about and probably go into worry and go into just a lot of judgment around and definition and just being like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? And as I held space for my son around this, and now mind you, in the past, I would have reacted bigger. I would have, had some more judgment around it. But in this state a few days ago, I was able to hold space unconditionally with absolutely no judgment, none. And I to the point where I started going within and being like, what's happening? What, oh, I like feel anything around this. And then I was like, felt really good about just holding this kind of just neutral space. And I was like, oh, that's what this is. This is my space of being. Space of being has no judgment. You know, when we talk about it in the terms of God or source, right? There's no judgment. There's only unconditional love. There just isness. And that's what I was practicing when I was holding space for my son, just this isness and just being like, oh, like observing, like holding this broad perspective and observing. And you know, it was so powerful for me to feel this and not just get hooked in or react or get into a state. And it was powerful for him too, because I could see all his barriers just come on down. I could see that he could really receive my unconditional love. And I remember when he left, he just gave me a big hug and just kept saying how much he loved me. And that, you know, I could just really sense how good it felt to not be judged, to just be unconditionally loved. And even though I practiced that throughout, I've tried to practice that all through my children's lives, there always was like a piece of judgment. You know, there's always was like, I'm really trying not to react, but there was this sense of, you know, there was a state happening, not my space of being. And oh my gosh, this definitely was my space of being. And there just was no definition. There was no reactivity, no hook, no judgment, just holding space with just unabashed, unconditional love. And it was such a blissful place and such an amazing place to hold space with. So your space of light, of beingness is there all the time. We just have to kind of do the work to get rid of the resistance, okay? And in the awakening process, we play with the different moving parts of the states of being. And they come and go and they fluctuate and they feel good and they don't feel good and, you know, stuff like that. But once we're onto this, once we start clearing these states and we really sit with just beingness. Now, it takes a little time. Sometimes it just takes visiting it over and over again. And eventually there's a bridge, if you will, to that space that you don't have to do a lot of work to get to. The yoga class, the meditation, the whatever it is. Once you keep visiting it over and over and you remember it and you remember it, the bridge gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to be it all the time. Now, I love the practice that I do with people. It's called creating a somatic marker. And what we do is we work with the voice to find that space of being. There it is. And then make a sound. And then when you make a sound, it becomes that somatic marker. It's something your body can do. And it's a vibration that you can bring into your day to be that space of being. And it works profoundly, especially if you're willing to do more work around like letting go of shadow sides, letting go of old beliefs, letting go of thought forms that are in polarity, definitions, judgments. When we start to work with that part of ourselves and we start releasing that, and we really grow an open allowance for people to have their choices on the planet, this sound work and making the somatic marker really works. Because let's be honest, guys, we're living in a human realm, right? You know, the guy in front of us is, driving this way, or this, you lose your job, or there's certain things that happen. And the more we meditate and the more we have this personal practice, the more we don't react to those things, but still sometimes we can be like, huh, it might drop our vibration a little bit. And that's that state, right? But the more we practice just marinating and being that light and that space of being, the more that this little marker activity can really work. So I've been doing some fun things. You might have noticed, if you followed my videos, you might have noticed that I've been doing a lot of shorts. Well, I start them over on my TikTok channel, and then I post them over here too. But the idea is we have these little marker moments. There's 15 to 30 seconds where I'm just singing source energy. I'm just singing that source nature of ourselves. And the idea is that you could tune in for 15, 30 seconds and just, oh, there I am, and come on back. And let go of all the wavering states of being and really come to your essence, your light being. Now, this is something I've been practicing and cultivating and visioning and for a while now. I guess since I'm 19 when I had Shaktipa. No, it was before then. When I was 18. When I was 18, I went to my first true meditation class, and it was in my gym. And I went to it and I remember feeling that sense of beingness. And I was like, wow, how do I live like this, right? And then I became a songwriter and started performing. And I remember performing my songs and just feeling that sense again. And oh my gosh, I started to feel that space of being. And so throughout the years, just kind of in search for something that was already me, it's kind of funny. But so I'm going to be 50 in a few months. That one's really getting to me. But okay, so I'm going to be 50 in a few months, and I started this journey when I was I guess 18, when I first had that sense of of my space of being. Before then, I was just kind of living from state to state. And sometimes those are states of ecstasy, and sometimes those are states of happiness. Sometimes those are states of anger and blame, grief. And, I was just kind of going on the scale up and down. But when you start to really tune in and cultivate this space of being, this gets less flippy. I mean, we're all human, so, it's all, the states are going to go up and down a little bit. But you can decrease the range that these states go. And I don't feel like, there's any arrival or perfection with this, but I definitely noticed that it felt very good to be of complete allowance and non-judgment and holding space of love for my son. And I've been trying to do that for their whole childhood. It's been a challenge. I've been triggered. I came into motherhood using it as a practice for awakening more. I really came into a motherhood consciously, and wow, did it really just give me a lot to work with, let's just say. And so now they're 17 and 14, my two sons. And I feel like all that diligence and practice has paid off, because it feels so good to hold some of these intense years for them with complete and utter love, allowance, and just holding space. And think about what the word holding space means. When you're holding space for someone, your space of being, right? Like unity, love holds space, while this just gets kind of flops around and messy and tries to find its way, and you get to hold space. Non-judgmental, unconditionally loving space. So cool, guys. So, you are the light of the universe. You are source energy. And in the awakening process, all we're doing is waking up to that idea, that perspective, and remembering. And as we remember, we start letting go of the resistance And in letting go of the resistance, sometimes we have to let go of our points of view and our definitions of things as well. That can feel a little wobbly at times. It's like, I remember studying the Course in Miracles when I was in my late 20s, and that'll do it to you. There's this workbook that you read every day for a whole year, and they just work you up, and they just start training your mind into realizing that nothing has meaning. Like, none of this means anything. Nothing of this really even exists. So the idea is to get super neutral with everything. And I remember doing that, and I remember just the rug was pulled out from under my life. And it took, I studied it for a year, and it took a few years to integrate that all and to come into, ground again, because everything that my life was based on wasn't true anymore. Yeah. So, be gentle with yourself as you let go of form and structure and definitions and polarity and points of view. All that needs to be detached from to really be able to hold that space of being, that total space of non-judgmental, complete allowance. But it's who you are. It's what you are. And I'm here to say that if you want to get over that bridge quicker, then I really suggest creating these little markers for your day. And I really encourage you to do it with sound, because the sound you can take with you anywhere. Okay? And sound, your voice can have a frequency of source energy through it, and you can just let it out. Oh, and the sound wave just washes over you, and then you're like, oh yeah, there I am. Woo! Now, I've really been up in the ante on this because I've been posting it everywhere and doing it at my own personal practice. So I think it's becoming very potent in my life, because wow, is it working? It's pretty amazing. And I'm going to be sharing a program soon with moms of teens, because this can really give some inner peace, this practice. Beautiful people, let me know. Do you have any questions about what I just said? Are you experiencing this idea of space of being as this light of being and what you are, and that this state of being is a little different, right? And it's these states of being that are fluctuating frequencies. So when we raise our vibration, we have an ecstatic state, and then we come home and realize that our dog died, and our state goes down, da, 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 da. But our space never changes. Our space kind of holds the state. And the more we play here, the more these states don't affect our inner peace. We can just be like, okay, this has happened. What's next? So let me know. Let me know if you want more information about the practice I was just talking about. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, give me a thumbs up if this was a contribution to your day. As I mentioned earlier, there is a free gift on my website. Go to RebeccaAbraxas.com, and the free gift really gets you into this, start using your voice to create more awareness for yourself, and to eventually just really start remembering that space of lightness, that space of being you already are. So it's a little quiz you can take. If you're interested in what that quiz gives you around awareness, schedule a free discovery call with me. If you want to take this work further into working with your awakening and your ascension process, and getting these states to become your space of being. Okay, beautiful, beautiful being. I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.